It's the Smite Pro League powered by Curse Voice Gandhi alongside Mr. F. Dot. Today we're going to be bringing you Week 3 action. It's Saturday. No, it's a little bit early, but it's a good way to start off the day.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit early right now. We're getting into games. It's 1 p.m. just like every Saturday. We had our good show yesterday, Friday, where we sort of talked about our picks. I was the only one that was a little bit brave.
Yeah? You went the 50-50 on Ullr, right? Mm-hmm. You're casting it, though, too, aren't you?
I think so.
Adonis? Yeah, that'll be a good match. But the first matchup that we will get in today is going to be London Conspiracy versus Team Dig. But before we get into that, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the schedule to see what's really ahead of us here for the weekend. And as you can see, it'll be Dignitas versus London Conspiracy, then Cognitive Gaming versus Denial Esports, Ullr versus Team Solomid, and then on Sunday, you guys can see. But really today, this is the really, really big day for Ullr fans out there. It's humongous. This is their first real test in the SPL.
Yeah, this is definitely their proving ground. You know, we've seen them play and scrap against some sort of similar teams, but Team Solomid, one of the perennial teams in North America, so if they beat them, it's a huge statement, and if they lose, well, it's a statement the other direction.
Yep, for sure. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the European standings, though, see where everyone's kind of placed, and Fnatic is on top. They actually suffered a loss to none other than Upcoming Stars.
Yeah. Upcoming Stars, completely different team than what we saw in the spring split, and
That's
even so much as week 1. So definitely good look, and they are upcoming.
Yeah, and so we will be seeing London Conspiracy here. They're going to be taking on Team Dignitas, but before we get into that, we will show you guys what North America looks like, because Saturday, well, we have 2 North American games every single Saturday, so we might have to make sure our viewers are paying attention to that. Cloud9, undefeated. AFK is at 4-2. Team Solomid and Ullr will be battling to see where they will fall inside of the ranks here. They're both tied at 3-1. Well, one person has to lose today, so one of them will at least have an advantage.
Yeah, it should be very, very interesting as we go into it, because they're so both games, all 3 of our games actually, are very they seem to be one-sided, but if the last week has been any indication that there really is not going to be a one-sided matchup.
For sure.
So we all put in our predictions and what we thought, and I guess we'll take a look at what we actually were thinking. So what were you personally thinking for the games that we're going to see today? I
have London Conspiracy taking this versus Team Dignitas, and then I have Denial Esports over Cognitive Gaming. I think these, if there will be a 50-50, it will be the London Conspiracy versus Dig. But I think the rest are kind of cut and dry. But obviously the action that will happen in front of us. But London Conspiracy versus Dig, both of us kind of have taken London Conspiracy in this matchup. So as it's getting closer and closer to match time, make sure you guys get your picks in for the season ticket here so you guys can get points, and make sure you get Void Worm Kukulkan. That's the best thing you can do.
Yeah, it pretty much is one of the better things you can do. So actually, one of the cooler things, we're also broadcasting on YouTube. So if you go to youtube.com/SmitePro, if you're more of the YouTube guy, you don't really like putting out kappas, but instead just watch it on YouTube. Do they have a chat?
Yeah. YouTube does have a chat. So I watch the NHL streams.
Oh, okay.
Through YouTube, okay? So I've experienced.
I mean, you put that out there like it was something to be embarrassed about. I thought you could be like, I watched the makeup tutorial streams on Tumblr.
No. NHL's cool, but yeah, no.
Rest in peace,
the chat
Rangers.
actually moves a little bit slower as well, so take your liking and let us know what you think. But anyways, it is time for game number 1 between London Conspiracy and Team Dignitas. We're going to hop into the picks and bans here, as we will see that London Conspiracy will be rocking the blue, Team Dig rocking the red.
So that's going to give the first pick. We'll see what the team decides to do with the first pick, because as we always say, or traditionally say in these picks and bans, it comes down to the solo laner.
Yeah.
And what kind of counter pick they want. With that, London Conspiracy quickly bans out Frostiak. You know, Bart actually mentioned this yesterday on our weekly Friday show that airs every Friday at 4 p.m. Team Dignitas comes together and sort of like, who's going to play Ymir? Because a lot of people on this team are great with the characters, so easy respect ban from LC.
Neath gets taken out as well. Such a flex pick in this current meta, and we've kind of seen it through a majority of different teams. But Neath mid can just set up so much. Yesterday on Thursday on the Fnatic game, I mean, Neath mid was just setting up Maniac to snowball a lane, and you want your solo laner, if he's your premier player, to get rolling as soon as possible.
Yeah, I mean, that Neath ult winds up being similar to a Nuwa ult in the sense that just use it every time it's up.
For
Why
sure.
not, go for it every single time that ultimate comes up? It can be a playmaker. So with that in mind, Neith is going to be banned out very quickly, and
This is
Ares
great.
banned out by LC. Just taking rid of the aggressive support options here.
Well, they're going to ban out Suntouch there, making sure he does not get Hunbats. And now, London Conspiracy have to ask themselves, do we want Athena? Do we want Sylvanus? Both of them are so very, very strong in the support role. And the best way to counter the other one is, well, to actually pick the other. So
this actually might be our first summer SPL game where both Athena and Sylvanus get through. So it's going to be a big deal. Usually, folks, those two bans are just standard. Athena has a global ultimate that allows her to be very powerful, and Sylvanus just, well, he can be a bully. And
so we're seeing a little bit of a shift of priority here. So most likely, Suntouch will be taking this Bellona into the jungle, giving him, well, really just a huge presence very early on, as well as throughout the entire game. Eagles Rally can set up a lot, but now Team Dignitas have to ask themselves, okay, do we want to go double Guardians? Do we want to go Athena and Sylvanus? Or do we want to look for something a little bit more mid-game?
If Frosty can play it, that is the do. Athena jungle can be very powerful. There's a lot of damage there, and the ultimate combination, you can be offensively built and still help your team out with Defender of Olympus and the taunt. So that's going to be a really big deal. But just coming in, Emilzy on London Conspiracy will not be playing. It is Half Devil the God.
What's going on with Emilzy? He missed week 1 and Half Devil had to substitute in, and that's when we saw the Geb get picked up, which I'm assuming London Conspiracy will have to grab now, just based on looking at the supports and who really Half Devil prefers. But I wonder what's going on with him.
Yeah, I mean, just scheduling conflicts, I suppose. This was a move that London Conspiracy made earlier on in the season, and I actually like it. A lot of times we see a sub sort of sit on a roster and not really do much. I was talking to Deathians, the manager for London Conspiracy, and, he mentioned to me, like, Half Devil is a very capable player, not able to commit time fully to a full team. So he's a great addition to our squad, who will need to use him more often than not. So they went into the season understanding that Emilzy wouldn't be able to make every game, and plugging that hole with Half Devil, well, that's not a bad luck at all.
He's such a lovable guy, Half Devil is. He's really big on giving hugs and just telling the world that he loves them. But it was the Sylvanus and the Athena picked up, so there's a lot of presence here. And then Agni will get picked up as well, which will definitely add to it. Athena taunts plus Sylvanus knockup gives Agni guaranteed setup for his meteors into Noxious Fumes. So there's a big CC chain here that can exist and probably will exist, but we will hop into the second picks and bans phase here, as it is now going to be Team Dignitas, and they will take out Tier, making sure that Snakeskin no longer gets this god because he's been so dominant with him in the past.
Yeah, I mean, Snakeskin has really shown a lot of people that he's worth looking at. A lot of people have been talking about Snakeskin, but he's been centered around this god Tier. He definitely has performed on the other characters, but when he's risen to the occasion, it's been on the Stance Switcher. So good, intelligent ban from Team Dignitas, and LC is going to ban out Shibalanki. Looking at what Team Dignitas already has drafted, the only 2 picks seem to be going the way of Hunters.
Yeah. Well, Young Bay is definitely going to be lethal on Xbalanque. Much like Allied in North America, Young Bay's cool with just sitting in lane until 30 minutes and then showing up and hitting someone with an 830 crit and hit him with an emoji, right? Like, yeah, that's kind of what he does. So Apollo will get picked up here. This could be a flex pick. That could be an Apollo solo. We have seen a little bit of diversity with him, as he is still very, very strong. He obviously will not be going mid because that will be Agni, but we do have one final pick left for Team Dignitas as the Chronos gets picked up, and I know you're excited for that, Dot.
I absolutely love the Chronos. I think the Chronos does a lot of things. He does a lot of things that Hunters do, and he does a lot of things that Mages do. He takes towers with proficiency like a good Hunter, but he can also provide some sort of slows and burst damage like a good Mage. Look for him to be in either the solo or the mid lane because he just can do so much. Yeah,
it could be either one here. Which will really all rest in the hands of Team Dignitas as to what variety wants to take.
Well, with the Ra pickup, I think we can be confirmed that Chronos is going to go into the solo lane. A lot of the times you don't see mages picked up in the solo lane because of the easy invade factor, but Chronos with a stun is a little bit more scary than Ra with a slow. So I would most likely see Chronos in the solo lane here, and that's going to set London Conspiracy up for the long game. You've got characters like Ram, characters like Chronos, characters like Ra. You're going to look for a later game sort of situation from London Conspiracy in which they could just siege down towers with the help of Geb Shields, Bellona's ultimate, and Ra's heal.
Yeah, Eagle's rally definitely is going to help, but if you're wondering what Team Dignitas is going to be doing here, well, it's pretty simple if you watched last week's game. Ullr is going to be going to Variety. Variety last week in their 0-2 loss actually started off with a first blood double kill with Ullr, and we were talking about it in the drive over here, and we said, he just wasn't really able to get anything out of it.
Right.
He gets the first kills, and it's everything a solo laner dreams of, but they can't transition that into a win. So is that going to be the case here in week 3?
I mean, we'll have to see. That it's been repeatedly said by both fans and analysts alike that Variety seems to be one of the things holding this, well, not holding this team back, but Variety seems to be one of the lower end players, the Achilles heel, if you will. Now, bear in mind, these are SPL players, so Variety, very capable player, can land his stuff. As we said, we saw that early last week, but can we convert into a victory? That's the real question, and I think that's more team-based than people realize. Yep. So it's not really all on Variety's shoulders, as a lot of people think, but it does emanate from that solo lane. So for Team Dignitas to really get out of this rut that they've sort of created for themselves, I think a lot of it has to do with the solo lane, but not just the solo player, the team in general looking to convert from the solo lane.
Well, you're going to watch Agni go ahead and just dash away here, giving him the dot damage here right onto the red buff, which is definitely a good start. But my eye is simple for Team Dignitas. It's all about Frostiak right here. My man started off with hand level 2 because, well, Athena's clear isn't exactly the greatest early on, but what this means is that Frostiak just needs to invade the jungle of London Conspiracy. Right. Take those back harpies, start really forcing the issue and get in these fights because he's going to be able to get taunts off guaranteed, no questions asked, because no one starts with beads.
Yeah, we very rarely see a bead start. Normally you'll see it sometimes when there's an Anubis in the game, or even in the mid lane when there's a scary enough assassin lurking in the jungle. So we're not going to see a beads 1 in this game early on. And we mentioned the Hog 2 last match that we casted together, Scott, about how it opens up options for you in the lane. This time around with the Ullr Athena combination, look for the straight invade. I think what we're going to see is as soon as this Hog 2 comes back up for Athena, for Frostiak, he'll head into the enemy jungle and just hand the back harpies real quick.
I got to say, I don't think I really missed Apollo being out of the meta. I played a game last night, and he just comes crashing down, and I'm like, well, at least it doesn't provide a knock-up anymore, right?
Yeah, I mean, one of the bigger boons, one of the reasons that we're seeing a lot of Apollo, and we'll talk about the curious build choice in a second, is because of the passive allows him to just chunk towers. He was really avoided for a long time as people sort of adjusted to the harsh difference of I can clear the wave in one button, like Season 1 Hunter, to I need to work for it. But now that people are used to it, Apollo's made a resurgence.
Now Snakeskin's going to try to aggress the best he can, but Variety, well, he does have a stun as well. All he has to do is press forward, switch stances, toss an axe, and then he can combo up. Ullr has such high kill potential early on because he is a little bit more ability-based that you always have to be careful regardless of who you're playing.
Ullr definitely has more options, as you said, so have to be a little bit careful. As we ride along with Young Bay, let's address the death toll, because this is what you're going to see almost every single time you see an Apollo in the Hunter role.
Base stat, boys.
Stop. Basically, the death toll will provide you regen, health and mana, when you basic attack. The Audacity, that's not a verb, that's actually the name of his passive. Audacity right here, as you see, it speeds up his basic attacks. So that allows him to stay relevant with his mana pool, and you're only going to use So Beautiful once during the wave, so you can actually keep your mana up with Death Toll instead of needing the blue stone pendant, which makes you a little bit scarier.
Athena already with an early back gets level 2 boots, and now Ullr, aka Variety as well, went back early here. We're 5 seconds away from the first Harpy spawn, and well, left side is going to be going completely to Team Dignitas, and they're going to try to aggress on this Half Devil. He's going to be stunned out, and he's zoned out completely, a little bit slow on that rotation. But that's not really his fault. Nope. He's going against an Apollo, but more importantly, he's going against a Sylvanus. And when you pick a Sylvanus, you have lane control instantly.
Yeah, Geb has a little bit of trouble with the lane control. With the rollout provided by Geb, he's usually the first one to those rotations, but looking at the hard rotate the Team Dignitas employed on these mid-camps, keep in mind Rights did go to London Conspiracy. Even if Geb rolled out and made it there in time, Scott, it would have been 1 versus 4, and he would have had to turn back anyway. So little bit of, you can't really call it a misplay that he got out late. Because if he got there, he wouldn't have been able to do anything anyway. So Half Devil caught out a little bit, makes it back to lane, and sends next to Shaggy Shake.
Do you like the fact that Transcendence is being rushed here by Variety, even though he didn't start off with early kills?
Ullr is definitely a hugely mana-intensive god. He does get the blue buff on the side of his, since he's in the soul lane rather than the hunter role. And I traditionally don't like Transcendence on hunters because its curve is very long. It takes a long time to come online, and it's just raw power. It doesn't give you lifesteal or movement speed like the Heartseeker or the Devo Gloves options. But here, you're going to be able to clear the wave almost instantly with a bladed arrow with a finished Transcendence, and you're going to be able to chunk really hard, which if you want to kill a Chronos, Scott, you got to do it in burst.
Well, the wave was pushed up here for London Conspiracy solo lane, aka Snakeskin. And because of that, he's able to split the experience both on the speed buff, and now he will come back trying to stop this wave here. He's going to lose at least 2 minions to the tower, as Suntouch will help him clear this. But so he gets the experience from the speed buff, and now he's going to get the experience from the blue buff, which will put him right at level 8, which Variety's already at.
Right. Variety's just
so he's in parity.
Yeah, Variety's just a hair ahead. Not too much. If we sat alongside him, I think you'll see a very similar experience bar. So Snakeskin right here. Yeah, as we take a look, it's actually almost a full level ahead. So Variety able to get the farm a little bit better than Snakeskin. That's a bigger gap than I thought, considering the gold gap is only about 200.
Yep. So CDR boots here coming on for the Raw here. I'm looking to go a little bit more utility, question mark. So many times out of Raw, we've just been seeing full-blown CDR. Taunt comes out, he's going to be CC'd here. Shadow Nightmare is going to try to aggress, but Half Devil's going to be here. Searing Pain's going to be right on the mark. Suntouch in the middle of it. Disarm's going to be applied, and Eagle's Rally will stop that fight from happening. So London Conspiracy holds tight.
Great disengage coming out from Team Dignitas right there. They aggressed, and they realized when this fight was swung in the other direction, being able to recognize when you no longer have the upper hand is a huge skill.
You can just see the chunk. He gets pulled as well. Geb shield a little bit late there, as now Agni will catch a number 1 coming out of Raw, and they will just heal this one right up. So they're looking to try to get the ball rolling as fast as they can for Team Dignitas, but they just haven't brought anything home. Mid Harpies are up, and now they're going to invest a lot in this. Noxious Fumes is going to help. Will Half Devil fall here? He's got the Geb shield on himself. In comes Athena. The Harpies are up. Half Devil takes it. Suntouch gets a kill. Rama takes to the sky. The taunt's going to be great. It's right on arrow. He's forced all the way out, and in comes Variety to the party. And now the hunt is on as he will switch stances, and he's going to back. He doesn't see Suntouch there. They don't have the vision on that. And now he will gladly just rotate back to his lane. But the big problem here is that every time Variety rotates, well, you got Snakeskin whittling away at your tower.
Whittling away? That's putting it lightly. This is a Chronos. If Chronos had actually played it a little less safe, you'll see probably gets away right here with the ultimate, no problem. It'll put him under the tower. If he wants to aggress, he can. And this is a fight that the Chronos can take, but only if he lands that stun. So he's going to have to turn it around. But look at the sliver of health that tower had. If Chronos decided that it was worth dying for the tower, which it wasn't, he would have been able to take that tower.
It's only 500 gold at this point. Yeah, but what it opens up is the fact that he's able to rotate a lot. But Suntouch lingering. He's got Eagle's Rally as well. He knows the ultimate's down. The disarm's good. The stun hits as well. Bludgeon will follow next. No shield bash. Here comes the Bludgeon to close it out. And Snakeskin will gladly take that kill, sending Ullr packing back to the base.
Tower right here. Great, great, great reward. One of the cooler things that I liked about that, the small attentions to detail. Suntouch didn't go in until the jump was down. You saw the Ullr jump, then the Suntouch goes in.
Here comes Shaggy Shank trying to stay alive here. He's just chained up, though. And he's going to be taken out here by Frezzo as the members of Team Dignitas just a little bit late to that rotation. But London Conspiracy, it's all tied at 2. And that is going to be a heavy hammer started up here by the Bellona and going straight into Frostbound Hammer. And that's going to give her a big spike in power.
It's really cool that we're seeing the Frostbound Hammer being built to the fullest extent. A lot of times in Season 1, it had to be changed. We only saw Heavy Hammer, which was rank 2, and it was all it really was purchased was for the actual slow. Here after it's been changed, we saw an adjustment to the slow, but it provides just so many stats. If we could take a look, there's so much health on the Frostbound Hammer that's going to make
350, I think.
Yeah, so it's got
400
health, and it gives a little bit of physical power. But it's a 400 health. It's going to allow Bellona to go into the middle of fights like she wants to with that Eagles Rally, and it's just going to provide her more tankiness, and she's going to be chunkier, which is exactly what Bellona wants to be, because she's right in the middle of everything.
Well, mid-Harpies will be coming up here in about 30 seconds, but the one question mark I got so far is the Agni with the CDR boots. Now, granted, he hasn't felt exactly safe in these fights, and he wants to get a little bit more bombs off, but I don't know if they really need that extra bit of CC of him just throwing down a bomb or chaining it up with noxious fumes. I mean, they have a Sylvanus and an Athena. They need this magical power from somewhere.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. I think that I prefer to see the power boots of Agni's, specifically just because his burst output is so you can put out a lot of damage. But with the CDR boots with this lineup, since it's low damage specifically with the two Guardians, they're gonna have to be very creative.
Well, Frostiak with a beautiful taunt, stopping the bludgeoning from happening. Shadow Nightmare in a lot of trouble. Eagles rally, trying to secure it, and he does. Shadow Nightmare goes down. Wrath of Terror is there. In comes Young Bay. He's trying to find one. He gets zoned completely out by Shaggy Shank. Playing out of his mind is him, but Frostiak gets a two-man taunt. Stop time just off the mark there from Arrow, as now we will try to see if Snakeskin will be able to turn this one around. And Variety, well, he's hitting very hard.
There's that Rahil we were talking about in the early games. Got just the ability to sit there and say, all right, you engaged on us. You even did well. Great job. But we've got this Rahil, and that's not the difference between that fight, but it's the difference between that fight and being able to go on to the Gold Fury after that fight. So you still have Sun Touch.
They're still in the middle of this, and that's huge from Snakeskin. Trying to find it. He gets the shield bash as well. He will pay with his life, but I'm sure he's screaming worth as they are looking to do the Gold Fury, and they already did, and it's down. That's huge.
That is a great play by London Conspiracy. Not only do they essentially split pushed. They got the Gold Fury as well as took a fight in the mid lane that it looked like Snakeskin and Sun Touch weren't thinking about the fight.
No.
But Team Dignitas handed to them on the platter. They came and they were standing at their tower and they went for it. They came off of the tower, which is what allowed London Conspiracy to really get aggressive
and
take that fight.
Rip it, Arrow. You can do it, buddy. He's going to be chained up here, drops down the heel. And he's got full CDR now at this point with the Chronos pendant, as well as, you know, a little bit extra magical power that I believe it gives you 75 magical damage.
Yep.
So, Arrow, he could turn around at this point. Granted, he has no penetration, and just throw down his ultimate and try to kill him there. They would maybe have been low enough, but, I mean, it's on such a low cooldown now. It's like 45 seconds.
Yeah, the raw ultimate, you'll be able to see a lot of fun plays come out with the raw ult, because a lot of players don't worry about wasting it because it'll be up almost in time for the same engagement, depending on how long the fight's going to go, especially when you consider that there is a Ra able to just drop the heal. You'll be able to use your ult so quickly, as you said. It's very, very short cooldown with this build.
And now we're going to see the aggression here as Variety forced to jump over there. And, well, he actually won that engagement. He won the trade, but, well, Rewind is definitely still an ability, and he's not sure what the cooldown is on it. He's playing very safe. Eagles Rally comes out. Missing is just going to be Sun Touch there. He gets stunned out and actually loses on this as he will get pulled as well. Frostiak will see the Geb Shield, and he will live to taunt another day.
No harm, no foul. Frostbound Hammer's 400 health plus a Geb Shield in the protections of the Eagles Rally and the heal from Ra. Barely even touched the Sun Touch. So Bellona very, very tanky right now, and we're only 12.5 minutes in.
Yep. And on top of this here, we're going to see just Sun Touch still trying to aggress. And he gets the shield down as well. And Frezzy forced the ultimate as now the meteors will come down as well, trying to chain it up here. But they just don't have the burst damage to take him out as Sun Touch is in the middle of it. And he will walk out of this one to live as Variety will take out Snakeskin in the solo lane. And he will recall. Arrow now still looking. And he's got 30 seconds until his ultimate's up. Celestial Beam on a very quick cooldown as well. So if he starts building into power after this instead of the Lotus Crown, even though they don't really need the magical power because of the Chronos, you can start to see him really change a team fight.
Great moves by Frezzy in that last team fight, just able to outmaneuver Ra. Everything that Arrow tried to deal him just could not hit, and the tree gets away no problem as we ride along with Shaggy Shank in the long lane. Been a long time, honestly, since we sat with the Hunters. Neither of them have a kill. Both of them actually sporting the exact same slash line, 0, 1, and 2. We've seen them both we've seen them both rotate in the mid lane to join these fights, but they haven't really seemed to fight each other.
If we could check in on the player damage here, Shaggy Shank in that middle engagement was fantastic, and yeah, he's just a little bit ahead of the Apollo who was crashing down, and by a little bit I mean 1,000. So he's definitely trying to get involved, but for Hunters it's really difficult. They have to pick and choose their battles so wisely, especially Rama, right? I mean, Apollo can come crashing down with Across the Sky whenever the hell he wants to whatever team fight he wants, whereas Shaggy Shank, sure, he has an ultimate that he could see mid lane from Gold Fury, but he's not going to make a huge impact in a team fight like Apollo will.
Yeah, it depends on the accuracy of the Ram, of course, but you're 100% right on the difference between the rotations. One of the benefits of Ram is that he doesn't have to make the full rotation a lot of the time. He can ult from the Gold Fury, like you said, but Apollo can just inject himself wherever he needs to be at a moment's notice, which will happen a lot faster. So you have to make note of that. Both the Hunter and the rest of the team has to know that, yeah, the rotations are going to come out faster than from my opponent than myself.
As now Snakeskin, he already took the tier 1 tower in solo lane, and you will see him rotate everywhere. He's got full control, and while they have the wards to stop any kind of tomfoolery coming out of Team Dignitas, you can see the one right by the mid Harpies and then the one right by the Fire Giant. They are very, very safe, as Shadow Nightmare is going to throw himself a very deep ward. And normally we only see those wards if one team is really winning, and that's coming out from a team who's really on their heels.
Just want to be able to make sure they want us to be able to know where the enemy is when they're getting ready.
Oh my God, was that a lane swap? This is a lane swap. Variety actually electing to go into the duo lane here, as now it'll be Young Bay who will be taking the tier 2 tower farm because Variety can shred through this.
Yeah, this is actually a really cool play, and I referenced it earlier when we were talking about the Transcendence and how I usually don't like it. But on Ullr, it allows him to clear the wave with one ability. Bladed Arrow will clear almost all the minions. I think you need 1 or 2 basics to clear some of the big boys. He'll be able to out-clear his opponent at Ram and just be able to push this tower. As we see, it's almost down, fighting the jungle.
Boom. Half Devil losing about half his health. Searing Pain on the mark. Variety trying to jump out of this one. He doesn't make it over. Snakeskin makes him pay. Down goes Frezzy as well. Arrow now, he's on the chase. Shadow Nightmare's going to pay with his life. Young Bay gets one, but this has all been about London Conspiracy here. They sniffed out the Team Dignitas foolery, and, well, they made him pay for it at that. And this is going to be another Gold Fury going the way of London Conspiracy, the gentleman in purple. Frostiak in. Will they be able to stake it? They can, and Shaggy Shank will get another kill on top of that, which will help him even further in his build, who is now 1-1-4. He's got Nickable, so all things considered, he wants to box.
Man, this London Conspiracy team has just been... Every single team fight is the same thing. I think they've been listening to a lot of the Offspring, because every single team fight, they're keeping their enemies separated, man. They're not Team Dignitas is not able to come together and really form a cohesive team fight. London Conspiracy is just splitting them up, and that's why they're getting these victories. You saw how Agni was on the bottom and the rest of the team was on the top. You saw Half Devil was all by himself. It's going to be really rough for Team Dignitas.
So back to the lane swap here that Team Dignitas made. There's one reason why they did it. It's 17 minutes. Gold Fury is still extremely important. You have an underleveled Apollo with in parity above Shaggy Shank Ullr. So you put Ullr over into the duo lane because he will make a bigger impact on the Gold Fury fights than Apollo will. For sure. And you really just want Apollo to just live. And plus he has the global ultimate, so he can come down into the team fights whenever he wants. So they're trying to set up for this split push kind of team comp, but they're just losing right now.
Right. It's all about where you can provide the most presence for your team, and Apollo able to do so out of the solo lane, as you said, because of that ultimate that we keep talking about so much. But as the game gets later and later, the Fire Giant is going to be one of the more focal points of the map rather than the Gold Fury on the other side. So we might see more of a heavy presence on the right side of the map than the left, but for now, it's all about this long lane, the dual lane. The towers are both still up to level 17 Variety against level 16 Shaggy Shank.
Still looking to aggress here. It's going to be Variety. Misses the axe throw, and he's just going to go ahead and walk it on back as they will now wait. Team Dignitas, they can't find any answers, man. It's just not slipped away because it was even at the beginning, but I just don't know what they can do. London Conspiracy is just getting the better of them.
Yeah, I mean, so Team Dignitas is down 5K due to a couple of Gold Furies and a tower. It's not the other, and 2 towers actually is. Mid tower falls down on the side of London Conspiracy. So Team Dignitas is trying to even things up, but LC responds by taking out Team Dignitas. And so they're down by about 5,000 gold, and that's largely due to Gold Furies. Team Dignitas really needs to look at these objectives and evaluate how much they're able to get off, but the reason LC is able to hit them is because of the team fight. So Team Dignitas just needs to come together a little bit more to win these fights.
Yeah, but it's easier said than done, right? I mean, London Conspiracy, and here's exactly that. You got Defender of Olympus forced out. Eagles Rally comes down as well, and Team Dignitas really going to try to turn this here. The taunt's going to interrupt the bludgeon, and now Eagles Rally still trying to do whatever it can, but it's going to slowly stop this team fight. Geb Shield was beautiful. Half double in the middle of all of it. In comes Apollo. He's looking to get the kill, and now Shadow Nightmare gets another one. Forced out is Sun Touch. The taunt's great. Sun Touch with the late beads here. He will maybe pay with his life. He does! And that was exactly how you throw a spear, Miss Athena.
Team Dignitas did what LC's been doing to them the whole time. Shadow Nightmare still on the offensive. The Raul not going to be good enough. Snakeskin focusing the Guardian, and the tower has fallen. So now this one has gone the way of Team Dignitas, it looks like. But LC on their heels in a little bit of trouble. Everyone's low on both sides.
Dude, how did this happen? Young Bay with the moves right here. The Mez was beautiful. Stop time going to be off the mark. You can see Snakeskin. He's got so many different callouts from his teammates on what to do. He's trying to get some prioritization here.
Interesting.
And he's going to rewind, resetting him back, and he's going to try to chase this down. But, I mean, it's 3 of them, and 2 of them are the best supports in the game. The Mez comes out from Young Bay. Here comes a CC chain as, well, Snakeskin, you're in a lot of trouble, buddy. And just like that, Team Dignitas finally answers. We're seeing some life out of them.
So I tell you right there, the reason that fight went in the way of Team Dignitas was, again, the reason why London Conspiracy was winning these fights. It's the separation. You have to be cohesive in these team fights. You need to be able to string together not just your abilities, but the abilities of your teammates. And we saw Team Dignitas separate Sun Touch and Arrow, not really able to come together for a good Eagles Rally into Ultimate or slow into Celestial Beam. Just didn't happen. And because they were able to separate it, Team Dignitas able to take the team fight and go ahead and take the tower.
For what it's worth, though, in these team fights, the reason why I pointed out the communication is to lead into this point and this point only. Emilzy is the shot caller for London Conspiracy. He is the one who normally is saying, okay, focus this guy, focus this guy. Right. And when you lose that shot caller, then you have a bunch of different people trying to step up at the same time. And what I could see kind of from Snakeskin was him trying to figure out who everyone was focusing. Yeah, right? I mean, you can see, if you go back and watch it, I mean, you'll just see exactly who he was trying to fight. And I think they're just really missing Emilzy.
Yeah, it definitely could be. Support plays a big role. One of the things that I honestly didn't like too much out of Snakeskin. I liked the thought process. We saw him hit the ultimate, and a lot of people might have asked themselves, why? Yep. Why did you use the rewind? Rewind will put you 8 seconds in the past, both not just your abilities, but also where you are location-wise. So it would have put him further up the map. And if he hit the Apollo or, frankly, any of those 3 targets with a time stop, time rift, basic attack combo, they would have died. We watched a lot of Conspiracy take the Gold's Fury, but not able to land it. Just trades his life a little over-aggressive, and Sun Touch a little over-aggressive as well. I count 4 people in red, Scott. I don't think Sun Touch is getting out of this one.
Yeah, that taunt was beautiful here. Managing to still stay alive somehow, and finally, Ra comes down, throws down the heel, and Defender Olympus is going to come crashing right on Sylvanus to try to slow up Shaggy Shank. And really, the saving grace in that team fight, well, the saving life for the time being for Sun Touch was the mid-Guardian Mail.
Right.
He got the passive proc on him, and he just slowed 30% of the movement, and they were like, oh, okay, well, I guess we're screwed. And the taunt's going to hit 3 people. The root's there as well. They have the follow-up half double and a lot, using the Geb shield on his teammate, even though he only had about 100 health in that engagement.
Might have been a misclick, but we can call him selfless.
Yeah, right? It's definitely a misclick. I would have put it on myself.
Another taunt coming out from Frostiak. The CDR build definitely paying dividends for the Athena in the jungle.
He's swinging very hard.
Started by Team Dignitas, but they're going to go ahead and leash it. Shaggy Shank's in the air, just gets out of the Noxious Fumes. No stun today, but
He's
Young
brave.
Bay is hitting like a truck.
He's very, very brave. Misses the cripple as well. He's got help from his teammates. He's trying to burst down one. Shaggy Shank will be able to win that. And Half Devil, he's baiting for his teammate, and they're doing a great job. Dodges the X on Snakeskin with a big play. Disarm comes out as well, as now Shadow Nightmare will die. And he did get a kill before he died, but you have to ask it.
That's what we call blood rage, Scott. You see, they're one basic attack away. All of those members of Team Dignitas unfortunately went for it. Variety, Shadow Nightmare, Youngbei all tried to pick up the Hunter, could not do it. Here comes Frezzy along with the help of Frostyak. So there's two Guardians here in the Fire Giant. Frezzy definitely has the Hog 3, not able to tell if Frostyak has the Hog 3 online, but Elsie has abandoned the Fire Giant altogether, so they don't really want to fight this. And as we check in, there is a Hog 3 on Athena. So two opportunities to steal from Team Dignitas. They're both present, and with that, London Conspiracy does not want to take the gamble.
Sun Touch. Some of you might be asking why Frostyak decided to not taunt. Well, it's simple. Sun Touch is trying to get these big windups with Bludgeon, and you're just seeing Frostyak save his taunt and then just interrupting it in the middle so he can't get the full damage off.
Oh, yeah.
And because of that, I mean, that's a huge power just gone in these team fights. And Frostyak doing a great job at making sure when to taunt and when not to taunt. And he's really made a big difference in this game.
Got to use those interrupts. I mean, when you take a first look on this team, it doesn't really look like you can interrupt much, but that Bludgeon is, frankly, the only ability that you can interrupt on this team, and it's so powerful, as you said. It just provides so much damage in a team fight, because the Bludgeon, of course, is Bellona's AoE attack. So by keeping that one close to the ground, Team Dignitas is able to mitigate a lot of what Sun Touch would be able to do in a team fight post Eagles Rally.
So Frostyak's build here, he's got the Mystical Mail giving him just a passive aura. Well, Snakeskin forced out the beads here. Gonna try to run away. Half Devil comes immediately in. Sun Touch. He's got the Eagles Rally here. Beads already comes out as well. Variety in a lot of trouble here. He's got Defender of Olympus coming down as well. Sun Touch. He's trying to figure out who to go on here. Bludgeon gets off, but he's out of mana. And now here comes Youngbei. Youngbei hits the Mez, and that's going to be a rewind forced out, and he's going to go all the way back. And you can just hear the Team Dig call go, okay, guys, we know where he's going to go. We got to kill him. Taunt's going to be good. Here comes the follow-up. The bomb will secure that kill. Shadow Nightmare always in the right spot at the right time here. And, well, with this team comp, yeah, you gotta be, because the setups are endless.
Yeah, we need a lot of that. 4, 5, and 6 is the Agni in the mid lane, and it was Adonis who said during our Friday show that if Team Dignitas is going to take the win, it's going to be with the help of Shadow Nightmare absolutely going off. We know what to expect out of the jungle, out of support, out of almost all of the members of this team, but Shadow Nightmare can really show up and provide a lot for this team, and that's what we need to transition into the late game to see out of Dig.
Well, luckily for London Conspiracy, they have Arrow, who now has a Lotus Crown, as well as penetration, doing percentage penetration at that. Eagles Rally comes out as well. Siri Payne's going to be right on the mark, and they're completely forced out. He's got penetration now. He's got a little bit more power, and if we can go ahead and hover on Arrow, you're going to see that his ultimate's going to be back up in about 30 seconds, which, well, they're going to wait and fight on that. He's giving protections within his heal now because of the Lotus Crown, and you can see the player damage there. He's at 17,000 already, and he's built no damage, and this is really the strength of Raw so far in Season 2.
I mean, that Chronos Pendant, it's sneaky damage. That Chronos Pendant is 75 damage. The Obsidian Shard is also another 70 damage, if I'm not mistaken.
Upshot.
So a lot of damage coming through. It's not quite a Dumore Bancroft build, but still able to provide output damage while doing the utility stuff like the heals with the Lotus Crowns. Youngbei just going to be able to stall this Gold Fury no problem, as we're very late in the game, and this is really where hunters start to become scary. We've seen the rotation out of Apollo earlier in the game, and it was a little bit of annoyance. Now, when Apollo comes crashing down, you have to be afraid he can kill you in just a couple of shots.
Shadow Nightmare now, he's going to be disarmed here, and Sun Touch really disrupting this, and now he's waiting on his team to kind of push up as well, and Frezzy is just going to push back a bit. His Sun Touch, he wants to cut down this tree. He's got the tools for it, and Frezzy in a lot of trouble. Arrow's able to secure that one, and he's right in the middle of the fight here. He pops the abilities. He's so fast. Variety over the wall he goes, and Snakeskin goes, hey, I can do the same thing. Rama taken to the sky, and he's able to take out Variety. Huge shot from Shaggy Shank to secure that, and now that's going to be a Fire Giant here, and well, my prediction's starting to look pretty good here, Dot.
Yeah, Shaggy
Sorry.
Shadow Nightmare and Youngbei, the only ones alive to really contest this Fire Giant. And as you take a look at the map, they decide against it. Youngbei's going to split push on the left-hand side, which has an Apollo is very, very strong. He's got the ultimate online, so Apollo can just farm this left lane, and he can just push it, and he can get this tower, and if it takes London Conspiracy long enough to get the Phoenix, he can get the Phoenix as well. He's not going to fight over it anytime soon, and if he gets into trouble, just hit that 4 button, take to the skies, and you're off. So this is exactly what the team thought about doing when they draft the Apollo. He's not coming to defend this. He's going to, oh, he is. He's going to back.
Yeah, he's going to go ahead and back, and that's really just because London Conspiracy, well, they have the minions from Mortar coming out. Frezzy's able to lock down one, looking for another one here as Apollo comes crashing down from his fountain, and just one auto attack. You can see exactly what it did to Shadow Nightmare. This Phoenix stands no chances. We will see London Conspiracy just whittle straight through this one. And now they will look to go into the mid lane where they will shred through the tier 2, and it really stands no chance. And it now comes down to Team Dignitas, who don't have Frezzo to really get some sort of setup. They still have Frostiak, right? They can hold anything, and they have the CC to do it. But the question is will they? Oh, no. Failarinos, Half Devil. Not sure if he was looking for the blink or what, but he just cataclysmed, and now this is Dignitas' time to really just push him away and just burn out this Fire Giant. And, well, you can tell Half Devil's definitely face-palming after that one.
Yeah.
That's heartbreaking.
Yeah, that Cataclysm is such a big part of the
he had blink,
for London Conspiracy. You want to go ahead and just get the multi-stun, and because of that, Team Dignitas sees the Cataclysm is down, and they're able to push out despite not having the Fire Giant and being down 6,000 gold. So that shows you just how important that Geb ultimate is for the initiation of this fight. We talked a little bit about how these heals from Arrow and such will be able to keep this team relevant. Well, you got to start the fight in order for the reinitiation to actually mean something.
Poor Variety. He jumps over and he just gets disarmed right away by Suntouch. Suntouch goes, oh, no. That's not happening in my mid lane, sir. I have won this. And that is such a tanky Bellona. You have a Frostbound Hammer, a Stone of Gaia, a Midgardian Mail, and then you just throw an Executioner on there because, why not, right? And then you have an Aussie. God, I don't know how Team Dig locks him down, or if they even want to at this point, right? Like, you got a Rada Tahuti on the side of Agni, so as long as there's some setup, he's going to be able to kill people, but I don't know how you handle him.
Suntouch has been a huge part of these fights. What happens is a lot of the times you look at the map and you say, why is Suntouch so out of position? Because he's just in front of his team the way a solo laner would. But that is the key right there. 31 minutes into the game, Hunters are online. You're going to see so much damage come out of this Chronos and stuff that you don't really need to be that assassin out of the jungle anymore. So Snakeskin is the pure damage coming out of the solo lane. So you have this chunky bruiser in the jungle on Suntouch. It doesn't matter 30 minutes into the game where you originated. It matters what your team comp is, and you have a tanky guy and a damage dealer. Just so happens that they didn't start where you're used to seeing them.
I love seeing the success come out of Suntouch here. As the taunt's going to hit as well. Arrow in a lot of trouble here. He's right on his heel. Shaggy Shake's able to pick up one. And the crit hit Frezzo as well. Half Devil's going to break it up. Suntouch into the middle of it. Searing Pain will be good as well. And now he's still going forward. The disarm will hit. And now he's on Variety. Absorbing the auto attacks is Suntouch as he will get peeled off. But Shaggy Shake's right there on the back end. That's going to be another one. All eyes on Titan, as they are going to try to burn this one down. 20% and dropping, and just like that, London Conspiracy take game number 1 of this set of 2 series here in week 3. And, well, they pretty much lived up to the hype that I was expecting. Yeah,
it looked very, very strong. Team Dignitas, they sort of did the right things. This isn't a story. A lot of fans at home have been talking about Dignitas throwing their games. This was not the case. Dignitas looked good in certain parts, but again, I'm going to drive it home. London Conspiracy did what they had to in separating Team Dignitas in order to get the win in a lot of these team fights. This game was won little by little. And at the end, I think there was only a 6,000, 7,000 gold differential between the teams. So,
well, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the first blood to see how this game shook up here on this game number 1 between London Conspiracy and Team Dignitas. And, well, it was Suntouch. He's right in the middle of it. Shield bash straight in, and he's just crushing through. And that's a beautiful Cataclysm off as well. And he gets the full wind up from the bludgeon. And That's really why I wanted to focus on that so much. He gets the first blood with it, and then every other time, Frosty X just goes, all right, you want to do this? Taunt. And he's just pulling him in and interrupting it every time. And that's really why we didn't see Suntouch get as many kills as, well, we probably could have.
Well, we also saw Suntouch sort of go into this more tanky defensive character because you have the luxury of the hyper carry of Chronos in the solo lane. So instead of having the Hercules or the thick tier in that solo lane with an assassin in the jungle, they switched it around a little bit. They put the, not assassin, but heavy damage dealer Chronos in the solo lane so they could put the control-oriented character in the jungle. Interesting stuff, and that's why they have a lot of control over the map. As we bring up the map control, it'll show you just how much of an impact this made. 52% on the side of London Conspiracy. So a little close.
Very, very, very good matchup here. The big difference of the 52% is the Gold Fury and the Fire Giant, right? I mean, Team Dignitas was only able to get one Gold Fury, and that's just from Young Bay kind of sitting in the middle and soloing the Gold Fury as soon as he had full stack dev gloves, right? So all things told, I mean, it was a very, very, very close game in the sense of jungle map control, but London Conspiracy just seemed to get the better in these team fights.
And that's really the story. A lot of times we sit here, especially after looking at the jungle control, and we see the teams have just, well, they have 89% of the mid camps. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, that's
right?
That's it, folks. That's our analysts is.
Right.
That's it.
This time around, it's so much closer. So you're able to find a different reason. It wasn't just, well, we got 14 mid-harpies and we're able to catapult that into the lead. They really want a team fight by team fight, a lot of setup coming out from the support and the jungle role, and a lot of emphasis and periods put on these statements by the Hunter Shaggy Shank.
Yep, who is also our player of the game here. Mr. Shaggy Shank was, well, he was crushing.
Oh, yeah.
And you can just see his positioning has just gotten so well. And this is such a good snipe. And that third shot, it gets smaller, and it's also very, very difficult to hit online, especially for the European players who are all just scattered around the world. And this is such good peel by his teammates. I mean, he's just right in the middle of it. He stays composed and just strafes around, using the body blocks to his advantage. And it's just such a good play out of Shaggy.
And you hit the nail on the head, and that's what we've seen from this player since the days of Team Coast, which was a long time ago if you're a new SPL fan. Shaggy Shank came into the scene virtually out of nowhere, and one of the things he was able to do was just perform in a hot on
Watch this
land.
one. Watch this one. Wait for it. And I guess he's there.
There it is. Yeah. So, I mean, one of the things that this player has been able to do to achieve his success is stay composed. We keep referencing the Team Coast. It was a little bit before you joined the squad, Scott. The team came out of nowhere and just nailed it on land.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. They were, for lack of a better term, nobodies. They really turned up and showed up, and Shaggy Shank was a big part of that. And able to stay composed and stay calm and stay confident in that time. We saw that fight where he's just surrounded by enemy jerseys and able to pull it off no problem. That's a big part of Shaggy Shank, and able to keep that mindset is a big part of why he wins.